Hello, my name is Steve and welcome to our online family service. While we can't meet together in person, it's great that we can join together through this video and worship God together. And I'm pleased to say it won't be long now till we can meet together in person. We're going to go back to having services in our building on Palm Sunday, Sunday the 28th of March. So in just 3 weeks' time we'll be able to meet together and worship God together in person. Until then, we're going to carry on our series looking at stories about Jesus in Luke's Gospel. You may remember last time we looked back over some of the stories we'd already heard about Jesus and asked the question, who do you think Jesus is? Who do you say Jesus is? And well, his disciples, they said, Jesus, you are the Messiah, God's chosen one, God's special king. And today we're going to look at a couple of stories that Jesus told. They're stories about things being lost, a sheep that was lost and a coin that was lost. And Jesus uses these stories to tell us that every person is precious to him. Every single person is precious to Jesus. Now we're going to hear that word precious a lot. So I thought right at the start I'm going to teach you the sign for precious so we'll know it and can use it throughout today's service. It's really simple. You get your hands like this here and partly close them, don't fully close them. And then what we do is we bring our hands up to the chin and then close them, like we're grabbing something tight. So this is the word for precious. Just like that there, to show something is precious to you. Something is precious. Just like every one of us is precious to Jesus. So here's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to start with a welcome and finding out about each other's week. We're going to have a game about lost things. And then we're going to hear our story, these stories that Jesus told about a lost sheep and a lost coin. Then it's our craft, which will be a lost craft as well. You can see the theme emerging. Then it's an action song. And finally we'll close in prayer. We're going to do something a little different in our prayer today. And we start our service with our welcome, a chance to ask each other about our weeks. What's been something good about our week? What's been something you're thankful for? And it's good at difficult times like this, because lockdown can be a difficult time, to take a moment to think, there is something good in the week, there is something I'm thankful for, and maybe even there's something that I can thank God for. And I think I need a little help with this bit. I always do. So I'm going to get in somebody who can help me think about my week. Let's get Theo in here now. And here he is. Do you want to say hello to everyone, Theo? That's it. That's very good this week. Now, Theo, what's something good about your week? What's something you're thankful for? Yeah, you're right. This week, Theo went on a big explore around Cali Park. Should we show people some pictures? There we are. There's some pictures there of Theo out and about exploring. You love going on a massive walk around the whole park. And there you are with a big stick too. In fact, you love Cali Park so much this week, you went twice, didn't you? Yeah, that was good. Something really enjoyed there. Getting out and exploring. You like a bit of exploring around Cali Park. Now, shall we say bye-bye to everyone, Theo? Do you want to wave bye-bye?
Bye. Bye-bye.
Very good. And just like that, he's gone again. Now, I know something good about this week was World Book Day for a lot of people. A lot of you have sent in photos of you enjoying World Book Day and a lot of things that you were thankful for. I know some of you were thankful for being able to read together. This is Jessica and Susanna, who love reading together. That's something they're thankful for. They're also thankful for being able to read together as a family. This is Susanna reading with her daddy. It's a great photo there. Another thing that was good about this week was dressing up as your favourite character from a book. We've got some great photos for that. Here's Jessica here. She's dressed up as Little Miss Sunshine. Little Miss Sunshine, what a great set of books those are. We've also got Malu, who's dressed up as Julian from Julian is a Mermaid. A fantastic costume there. Great effort there, Malu. Brilliant. And Phoebe has dressed up as the tiger from The Tiger Who Came to Tea. Well, that's one of Theo's favourite books, and I love reading it to him. So I can tell you, that is a great costume. Brilliant, that character in The Tiger Who Came to Tea. And finally, we've got a photo of Elijah. Elijah here is dressed up as a paramedic. That's somebody who helps treat people when they're ill or injured. And that's from the book, the St. John's Ambulance First Aid Guide. It's a very important book if you want to help somebody who's ill or not feeling well. So that's a great costume there. Well, in fact, they're all great costumes. So thank you so much for sending those photos in from World Book Day. And now it's your turn to go around the people where you are and ask each other about your weeks. What's been something good? What's something you're thankful for? And while we do that, as usual, you can pause the video and then press play when you're ready to carry on. So pause the video now. Well, hopefully you got a chance to go around there and find out about the week. A chance to take a moment and think, what's been something good about my week? What's something I'm thankful for? Now today we're going to hear about two stories Jesus told. Stories about things being lost and then being found again. Of people looking for things and then being found. So I thought for today's game we could do a finding game. And I'm going to tell you all about it using this here. It's one of Theo's favourite toys. As you can see, it's a toy sheep. Meh. See, I told you it was a sheep. And this is how the game works. Now, one person is going to hide the toy sheep, or whatever toy you decide to use. So let me hand this over to someone now. Could you hide that for us, please? There we go. And then we're going to close our eyes and wait while they hide it. And then whenever they've hidden it, they can tell us and we can open our eyes. And the aim is to spread out and look for it and try and find it. But the person who hid it can help you along. They can give you a hint as you go. And this is what they can do. When you get close to where the object is hidden, they can say things like warmer, warmer, and as you get closer, really warm now, to tell you you're getting close to where the thing is hidden. Or if you're getting further away, they can say cold, colder, oh, you're really cold now, to show you're getting further away. And that way, they can help guide you. So you'll need somebody to hide something, and then the rest of you are going to go look for it, and they can give you clues like colder or warmer. So I think now our sheep is hidden. Let's go look for it now. Right, are we ready to look for the lost sheep? Let's see where to begin. I'm going to start over here at the sofa, the chair. What about here? Really cold. Pretty cold, all right. I'm going to try over at the piano. Is it here? Still cold. Still cold? What about towards here? Getting warmer. Oh, we're getting warmer. What about over by the table? Yeah, colder again. Colder? All right, well, let's go back over here. What if I go this way? Are we getting warmer? Getting warmer. We are now. Really warm. Really warm. Okay, so I think it's somewhere on here. Yes, really hot. Yes. Can you see the sheep anywhere? Aha! I'll find it. Here's our lost sheep. And here's our toy sheep after we found them. Let's put them down here, all safe and sound. Now I said today we're going to look at two stories Jesus told. They're stories about things being lost and then being found. These things that were really precious, really important to their owners. So they went out and looked for them until they were found again. But why did Jesus tell these two stories? Well, let me try and explain a little bit. Now you see, Jesus, when he was on earth, used to hang out with all different types of people, all sorts of people Jesus used to hang out with. But some people didn't like the people Jesus was hanging out with. You see, some of the religious leaders didn't think much of the people Jesus was hanging out with. They thought they were the wrong sort of people. They were outsiders. And the religious leaders looked down on these types of people. Now, as you can imagine, it's not much fun when people treat you differently or look down on you or make fun of you. And I'm going to show you a very short film that shows you what that's like. It's a film by Pixar called For the Birds. And there's one bird that's a little different to the rest, and all the others pick on it and make fun. And it's not nice when people look down on you, treat you differently, and treat you like an outsider. So let's have a look at that film For the Birds and think, what must it be like to be treated badly like that? So what did you think of the way the little birds treated the big bird in that film? I mean, it wasn't very nice, was it? The little birds were really mean to the big bird. They treated the big bird badly. They were trying to push the big bird away and want nothing to do with him. And that wasn't very good, was it? And this is like what was happening when Jesus told these stories. You see, the little birds were like some of the religious leaders, and the big bird was like the people Jesus was hanging out with. The religious leaders would look down their nose at the people Jesus was hanging out with. They were mean to them. They wanted to push them away, have nothing to do with them. They treated the people Jesus was hanging out with very badly. And they said to Jesus, Jesus, you don't want anything to do with those people. Why are you hanging out with those types of people? But you see, Jesus didn't think like that at all, because to Jesus, every single person was precious to him, was important to him. You know, if you were a sort of bad person, as other people would call you, the wrong sort of person, you were still precious to Jesus. If you thought you were somebody who was far away from God, you were still precious to Jesus. Even if other people looked down on you, you're still precious to Jesus. And in fact, the religious leaders as well, they were still precious to Jesus. So Jesus told some stories to show how precious everyone was to him. And we're going to hear those two stories read to us now by Alexandra. We're going to hear two stories, one about a lost sheep and a lost coin. So let's hear those stories read now. Over to you, Alexandra.
Hi everyone, the reading today is from Luke's Gospel, chapter 15. Tax collectors and sinners were all crowding around to listen to Jesus. So the Pharisees and the teachers of the law of Moses started grumbling. This man is a friend with sinners. He even eats with them. Then Jesus told them this story. If any of you has 100 sheep and one of them gets lost, what will you do? Won't you leave the 99 in the field and go and look for that one lost sheep until you find it? And when you find it, you will be so glad that you'll put it on your shoulders and carry it home. Then you will call in your friends and neighbours and say, let's celebrate, I found my lost sheep. Jesus said, in the same way, there is more happiness in heaven because of one sinner who turns to God than over 99 people, good people who don't need to. Jesus told people another story. What will a woman do if she has 10 silver coins and loses one of them? Won't she light a lamp, sweep the floor, and look carefully until she finds it? Then she will call in her friends and her neighbours and say, let's celebrate, I found the lost coin. Jesus said, in the same way, God's angels are happy when even one person turns to him.
Thank you, Alexandra. Now, as I said, the religious leaders weren't happy with some of the people that Jesus was spending time with, some of the people that Jesus was hanging out with. They said to Jesus, they're the wrong sort of person. You don't want anything to do with those sort of people. Why are you spending time with them? And Jesus said, it's because every one of these people is precious to me. In fact, every person is important and loved by me. And to show what he meant, Jesus told some stories. Now, we're going to look at two of those stories now. And the first one is all about a shepherd. Jesus told this story of a shepherd who had 100 sheep. Now, one day, one of his sheep was lost. Gone, missing. He didn't know where it was. Now, what do you think the shepherd would do in this story? Do you think he would say, well, do you know what? I still got 99 sheep here. That's a lot of sheep. I'm happy with that. I'm not going to worry about that one sheep that's lost. Now, of course he didn't. Because every sheep was precious to the shepherd. Every sheep was loved by the shepherd. So what the shepherd is going to do is he's going to go out and look everywhere to see if he could find that sheep. The shepherd would go out and he'd look up in the hills for the sheep. He'd look down in the valleys. He'd look over by the water. He'd look in the trees. He'd look everywhere until, aha, look, it's a lost sheep. And when he found the sheep that was so precious to him, he would be happy. Jesus said the shepherd would put the sheep on his shoulders, carry it home, and when it was safe back with the rest of the flock, the shepherd would call out to his neighbours and friends, come with me and celebrate. We're going to have this big party. I'm so happy the sheep who was lost has been found. This sheep who's so precious to me is back safe and sound. Jesus told this story to show how precious every single sheep was to the shepherd, how precious they were. And Jesus says it's the same for people. Every person, every single one is precious to Jesus. So if one person who's lost or far away from God turns back to God, comes back to God, then Jesus is happy. This person is precious to them, and he's happy when this lost person turns back to God. And Jesus said it's not just him, but the whole of heaven is happy, is celebrating, is having a party when this one person turns back to God. Because every single person is precious to Jesus, is precious to God. And to really make the point, Jesus told another story, this time about a woman who had 10 silver coins, like this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She had 10 silver coins. Let me put them down here. And these coins were really precious to her, really important. But one day, she counted the coins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, there's one missing. One of her coins was lost. Now again, what do you think the woman's going to do? These coins are really precious and important to her. Well, of course, she was going to look everywhere for it. She was going to turn the house upside down, sweep the floor, look up in the high cupboards, down in the low drawers, look all over the house, under the furniture, through those drawers you never really look in. She would look and look and look until she found it. The missing coin was back safe again with the other coins. This coin that was so precious and important to her was found again. And because the coin was so precious, she'd call out to her friends and her neighbours that come with me and celebrate because I'm so happy. This coin that was lost is found now. This coin that was precious to me is safe once again. And again, Jesus said it's the same for people. Every single person is precious to Jesus. Every single person is precious to God. And Jesus said if one person who's lost and far away from God turns back to God, he's happy. And in fact, Jesus also said God's angels are happy if one person turns back to God. That's how important every single person is to Jesus. That's how precious every single person is to Jesus. And something similar might have happened to you. I wonder, have you ever lost anything that's really precious and important to you? Maybe it's something like your favourite toy you left somewhere and didn't know where it was. Maybe it's something precious like a blanket that you really love and just maybe can't sleep without. Maybe you're an adult. Maybe it's something really important like a document that you really, really need. Well, what do you do when it's lost? Well, of course, you're going to look everywhere for it. You're going to turn that house upside down, go back to wherever you think it was until you find it. Now, if that's ever happened to you, I hope you did find it. And if you did find it, what did you feel like? What did you feel like when you eventually found that thing that was so precious to you? Well, hopefully you'd feel really happy, maybe a bit relieved, but you'd be like, oh, thank goodness. I thought that was lost, the thing that was precious to me, but now it's found. And that feeling of something being lost and then found is what Jesus says he feels when people turn back to God, want to be part of God's family. Every single person is precious to him. And the way the sheep was to the shepherd, which is over there, where the coin was to the woman, the way that something was to you when you lost and found it, how precious they were, how happy you were when it was found. And Jesus said, that's true for every single person. They're precious to me. I'd be so happy if they turned back to God and were part of God's family. And that doesn't matter whether other people think they're the wrong type of person or look down on them, or a religious leader, whoever. Every single person is precious to Jesus. And in our craft today, we're going to make our own lost sheep and lost coin game. Here's what you're going to need if you want to join in. You're going to need a couple of sheets of white paper like this, a sheet of coloured paper, or if you don't have coloured paper, just get a white sheet and colour it in with a crayon or a pen. You're also going to need some scissors and glue, and then for the colouring in, some crayons or pens. So let me show you how to make our game now. To start with, we're going to need our coloured paper like this here. So what I want you to do is to take the coloured paper and fold it, not quite in half, but just short of the line there. So something like this here, because we want it slightly smaller than halfway, and then I want you to cut off this extra flap here. So just cut along here. We don't need that bit for our craft today. And then when you've done that, I want you to cut the end of it as well. So cut a bit off the end. We don't need that either for our craft. So we have a slightly smaller piece of coloured paper than when we started. And what we're going to do is to fold it in half, like that, and fold it in half again. And now what we're going to do is to keep cutting it, because we want to get 8 different flaps out of this here. So we're going to open that out, and then we're going to cut along all of these folds, just like this here, and then cut into this fold here, and cut into this fold here, and so on. I mean, I think you're getting the idea here, that you're going to end up with 8 different flaps, just like this here. And I think that's the easiest way to do it. You could just try cutting them out, I suppose, if you want as well. I think they might still be a little big, so I'm just going to take a little bit off the end, like this here. Now, once we've got our 8 flaps like this here, we're going to take one of our sheets of paper and use this as our game. So the sheet of paper here, we're going to stick down our flaps on it here. I'm going to lay it out so you can see what it's going to look like once it's in. So we spread them out fairly evenly like this here, and do the same along the bottom here. So we're going to have some different flaps. Now to make these flaps, what we're going to need to do is to take our glue and glue a strip along the bottom of each flap and stick it down. I'll show you what I mean here. So if I take this and put a strip of glue along the bottom, and then place that down here in line with the other ones. And then I'm going to do that all the way along the top row and the bottom row. I think you probably don't want to watch all this, so I'm going to speed up while I do this. Okay, so hopefully now you have a sheet of paper with these different flaps on it like this here. So you can lift each flap, as you can see, and look behind it. Now, what we need is then our sheep and our coin to go behind the flap. So we're going to get our piece of paper in here now, our other sheet of white paper, and you're going to need to cut out some squares, 2 squares, that are slightly smaller than those flaps there. So I'm just going to do that now. You can measure it out if you want, but you know me, I don't like to do things too exactly. Any way is close enough for me. So I'm just going to do this, and then cut them in half like this, because that's all you really need, is just 2 different bits of white paper, like, square them up so you can see, there you are, like this here. And one of these pieces of paper is going to be our coin, and one is going to be our sheep. So what we'll need to do now is to draw a sheep and a coin on it. So I've got my crayons here as well. So I think for the coin, I'm just going to draw a circle like this here. And then, well, our coins have the Queen's head on it, so I'm just going to draw a quick picture of the Queen here on it. And I apologise, Your Majesty, for what this looks like. Now, it was silver coins in the story, but I don't have a silver crayon, so I'm just going to colour it in gold to look like a coin. So there we are, here we are, we have our lost coin. And then in the other one, well, you've probably guessed by now what we're going to draw, and that's going to be a sheep. Now, to draw a sheep, I always start with a big cloud in the middle, and then you add a head and colour the head in, and maybe some hangy down ears, and then we're going to draw some legs down the bottom, just like that there. So hopefully you've got a sheep that looks like that there. Well, now you're ready to play the game. What you might want to do is to put some white tack on the back of these here for the next bit, and you'll see why. So now that I've got some white tack on the back of these, what I'm going to do is to hide the sheep and the coin behind 2 of the flaps here. So let me put it down on that one and put it down there. You can see where it is, I'll show you. And then just cover it up with the flap And then let me put the sheep, where would be, let me put the sheep up in the corner here. And you can see where it is, and it's hidden by the flat. Well, now you're ready to play the game. What you want to do is to give this to somebody else and see how many tries it takes for them to find the lost sheep and the lost coin. Shall we do that now? So I've got my game here all ready to play. Somebody has hidden the sheep and the coin. Shall we look for where they are? Let's start with this. Oh, no in there. Okay, I'm going to try down in the middle. Aha! There we are. Go number 2. I've found the coin. That was good. I'm going to try this one up the top. I'm going to put it down a second to fold it down. No, nothing there. What about this one? Oh, down the bottom. All right, I'm going to stick with the corners and go with... Aha! There's the sheep and there's the coin. And you can see it took me 5 tries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tries. So what you want to do now is get the other person to hide the sheep and the coin. Let me just do that now. And then fold all of the flaps back up again and you have a go. So if we put them somewhere different, pass it back to you and they fold it down, then you can have a go at guessing where the sheep and the coin are. Let's see if you can beat 5 tries as well. Have a go at playing that game yourself. And now it's time for our action song. And today's action song is I Am a Friend of God. It's one of my favourites. And the main reason why is because it involves lots of us joining in and taking part. We made it last year during lockdown, you may remember. And it involves all of us singing and acting along together. And the lyrics are great too, because in today's story we're learning about how precious every one of us is to Jesus, how important everyone is to Jesus. And Jesus wants all of us who are lost to turn back to God, to be a friend of God. So let's remember that's what Jesus wants for every one of us as we sing I Am a Friend of God. So let me hand over to, well, everyone.
Who am I that you are mindful of me, that you hear me when I call? Is it true that you are thinking of me, how you love me? It's amazing. I'm a friend of God. I'm a friend of God. Whoa, I'm a friend of God. He calls me friend. God Almighty, Lord of glory, you have called me friend. God Almighty, Lord of glory, you have called me friend. Who am I that you are mindful of me, that you hear me when I call? Is it true that you are thinking of me, how you love me? It's amazing. I'm a friend of God. I'm a friend of God. Oh, I'm a friend of God. He calls me friend. I'm a friend of God. I'm a friend of God. Oh, I'm a friend of God. He calls me friend.
Well, thank you to everyone who took part in that song. What a great reminder that is, that we can say, I am a friend of God. Now, in our prayers today, we're going to try a prayer from this book here. It's called the Prayer Experiment Notebook. It's one of the books I'd recommend if you want to try and pray more together. And today's prayer is going to be a little unusual because it involves being silent and listening to God. Now, a lot of the time when we think about prayer, we think about talking to God, but it's good sometimes in prayer to be quiet and listen to God too. And to help us with that, we're going to use a prayer bottle, and you can make your own prayer bottle at home too. What you need is a bottle. It must have a lid or a jar or something like that, with some water. You can see I've already filled it, and then some glitter too. Now, very simply, what we're going to do is add the glitter to this bottle. So let me add a little bit of gold glitter, and as you can see, it's already quite messy. And I'm also, just to make it a bit more exciting, add a bit of silver glitter too. So let's be a bit more careful with this. Put in a bit of silver glitter. And then, and this bit's very important, you want to attach the lid very tightly because you're going to shake it up and you want to make sure it doesn't get out. Now you probably can't see because all the glitter at the minute is sitting on the top. We're going to shake the bottle until we've mixed up all the glitter. Then place it down and you'll see the glitter swirls around. And while the glitter swirls around, we're going to be silent and still and listen to God up until the glitter all settles down. Now it might be hard to sit still for a little while. It may be hard to listen to God, but we're going to give it a try. And while we do that, maybe you could ask God a question and wait to see if he answered. Maybe you could ask a question like, God, what would you like me to do? Or God, is there something that you'd like to tell me? Or maybe you might want to spend some time thinking about the story we had today, the stories of the lost sheep and the lost coin. You might want to think, what does it feel like to know that you are precious to Jesus? Or maybe do you feel lost and far away from God or close to God? Whatever you want to do, it's your chance to be quiet and still and listen to God. So I'm going to shake up the bottle in a minute or two. We're going to be quiet, and while that happens, think about God and maybe listen to God as well. Let's do that now. How did you find that? Was it easy or hard? Did you find it difficult to be so quiet? Did you hear God speak? What did God say to you? Maybe after the service, go around everyone there where you are and ask those questions to each other. How did you find it? Did you hear God? What did God say to you, if anything? And you can also make your own prayer bottle like this here. It's very easy to make, and you can use it to help you just spend a few moments being quiet and listening to God. And let me close our time together by praying this prayer of blessing for us all. The Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord make his face shine on us and be gracious to us. The Lord turn his face towards us and grant us peace. Amen. Well, thank you for joining with me today as we heard two stories Jesus told. A story about a lost sheep and a story about a lost coin. Stories Jesus told to show how precious every person is to him. You, me, everyone, we're all precious to Jesus. What a great message that is. And I hope you can join with me next week. We'll be looking at another story of Jesus from Luke's Gospel. Until then, I hope you stay safe and well, and goodbye.